Okay, so this is our textbook, The Gospels and the Zodiac, The Secret Truth About J.C. the Christ Figure, by the Reverend Bill Darrell-El. Okay, we are on Libra, page 144. If this is your first time here, welcome. Page 144. Download the free link to the video, not the video, the PDF. Okay, the PDF is in the description area of this video. Download it, print it, and bind it. Same way I did here. When you come to these presentations, use your printed, bound copy, all right? Use your physical copy, all right? So let me get myself situated here. So let me go over my expectations again. My expectations is that if you've been here more than once and you've stayed longer than 5 minutes, I'm inviting you to subscribe to the channel. Why? Because YouTube shadow bans this channel. Okay, so we don't get any traction in the algorithm. The only way to pick up a following is by you helping. Okay, period. Otherwise, this message will not get out. No one will hear about it. Okay, so if we want to have people here and people learning to help our people, we need people to subscribe. That's the only way to do it. No subscribers, it doesn't help us as a people. Okay? Now that's just a fact. Now isn't that interesting, right? Isn't that interesting? If there was actually a movement, why would we be dependent upon our oppressors? Use your head. Okay? Think about that. They can shadow ban you, they can cut your channel off if you say anything that they don't like. Right? So then how is there some type of divine intervention? Have you all ever thought about that? No. The laws of nature apply here. The law of nature is you must do for self. And those who have get more. And those who don't, even what they have will be taken away from them. That's natural law. All right, that's natural law. Okay, so that should tell you something about what you see on YouTube, right? And what you see on mainstream media. Nobody's going to finance or even participate in their own demise except for people who have been conditioned to do so from birth, and that's their heritage, i.e. the blacks, the Negroes, the coloreds, and the African Americans, right? Okay, so Libra, Mark chapter 10, verse 1 through verse 31. All right, so 30 verses. So this section of Mark is dealing with Libra. Mark chapter 10, verse 1 through 31 is dealing with Libra. JC said, quote, "When you make the two into one, you will be called sons of men." This is in the Gospel of Thomas, saying 106. So let me go ahead and show you the illustration for Libra. Libra is the two scales, right? Can y'all see that? Okay, so when you go back and watch this video, pause it. Y'all should study these presentations, okay? Study the presentations. Go through them 2, 3, 4 times. All right. What can we note about these scales? They appear to be balanced, right? They appear to be balanced. So in the Egyptian spiritual system, the scales are balanced. Okay, in the States and in Freemasonry, the scales are imbalanced, right? They're imbalanced. In the Egyptian spiritual system, they're balanced. In Freemasonry, in the U.S. corporation, they're imbalanced, right? So that would be in the corporate or under corporate domination by the Catholic Church, the scales of justice are imbalanced. All right. So Libra let me repeat that. Libra and Venus. Libra and Venus. The entry of the sun into Libra marks the autumn equinox in the northern hemisphere, when day and night are equal once again. This is the midpoint of the year, the moment of equilibrium, when the forces symbolized by the day and night are in perfect counterpoise. This has happened before, of course, when the sun entered Aries in the springtime. But there is a difference between these opposite but complementary points. At the spring equinox, the point of poise occurs before the daylight begins to dominate. Y'all got that? The point of poise occurs before daylight begins to dominate. In other words, this is saying that in the winter, darkness dominates, right? There's more nighttime hours than daytime hours. All right? So we get to Aries. The nighttime hours have been more than daylight hours. This is all he's saying, okay? Very complicated way of saying that. Let's continue. All right, let me go back. Okay, this has happened before, of course, when the sun, S-U-N, entered Aries in the springtime. But there is a difference between these opposite but complementary points. At the spring equinox, the point of poise occurs before daylight begins to dominate. Okay, so that means nighttime was dominating, right? There's only two choices, daylight and nighttime. So nighttime was dominating. We see that in your experience in life, right? Winter, January, February, it's dark, okay? More than it is light. That's all it's saying. In the autumn or in the fall, this is reversed, and the balance point presages the forthcoming masses of darkness. So in the fall, daylight is dominating, right? So at the fall equinox, daylight dominates. There's more hours, in other words, the 24-hour day is dominated by light, daylight, period. That's all it's saying, okay? So they're reversed. Okay? So what else can we get from this? The equinox, again. The equinoxes, spring and autumn equinox, this is the physical justice. This is where the concept of justice comes in. All right? 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. That means they are both equal. There's an equal number of daylight hours and nighttime hours. That is equity. That is justice. Y'all see it? Very simple, right? This is where the abstract concept of justice comes from. The abstract concept of justice comes from the concrete physical phenomena of 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night. Period. End of story. Okay, sin, inequity, injustice rather, comes from the imbalance of the number of daylight and nighttime hours. Okay? From the spring equinox all the way until just before the autumn equinox. The inequity is on the side of daylight hours. Daylight, right? So spring and summer, we have mostly daylight. So there's an imbalance. Therefore, there's what? Inequity, injustice. All right? Now, when we go to the autumn equinox, everything is balanced again. You see, look, here. Spring equinox, autumn equinox. The scales are balanced. All right? And summer. You see how the scales, imagine these are the scales. They're imbalanced. They're only balanced here. Okay? Y'all see that? So if we're in winter time, you see the scales are always imbalanced. The scales are only balanced at the equinoxes. That's all it's saying. All right? Christ comes to what? Bring justice. Balance the scales. So that all of that discussion, we don't need to get into it, okay? But that's where the concept comes, Christ being crucified, the justice, and all of that. All right? Go back and watch the other presentations that I've done if you want to know the full story on these concepts. The eternal interplay of light and darkness is symbolized in the zodiac itself, which on one level is nothing more than the yearly cycle projected on the sky. The first 6 signs then come under the domination of the daylight. We just talked about that. And can be said to present the light of individual consciousness struggling to establish its identity. So in other words, at the solstices, summer solstice somewhere around June 21st, 22nd, 23rd, December solstice somewhere around, winter solstice here, somewhere around December 21st, 22nd. You see this is a straight line, right? So summer solstice occurs approximately June 21st, 22nd. The sun is at its highest point in space, in the northern part of space. The sun is at its zenith. This is the higher self. This is a state of consciousness. This is Christ consciousness, city consciousness, Christ consciousness, the higher self. This is when you are operating at the peak level of intelligence and health, physical health, intellectual achievement, peak level, and also the peak level of physical health. They call it spirituality. All right? They call it intellectual and spiritual, the highest level of intellectual and spiritual achievement. Okay, but the spiritual part simply means health. Okay, optimal health. Below here is Satan the devil. This is lower self behavior. This is where all of the wickedness, jealousy, envy, all of the dark, wintry, cold behavior that you have done in your life. The betrayal, right? The theft, all of that dirty, rotten stuff that you and others have done. Okay, so that's what he's talking about. The first 6 signs then come under the domination of daylight and can be said to represent the light of individual consciousness, okay, higher self, struggling to establish its identity. Okay? And I would actually argue against struggling to establish its identity. No, you make a decision every day as to who you want to be, a dirty, rotten bastard, a devil, and an opposer, or you want to be, quote unquote, Christ-like, right? When I say Christ-like, I'm not talking about being a chump, a pushover. I'm talking about you want to be a person who's what? Intellectually functioning at your optimum or highest level. You're using your mind, your analytical skills. You're not accepting things. You're not into doctrine. You're not into religion. You've come back to nature and harmonized your life with nature. You follow the Most High's commandments, which are at their essence natural law. You study the sciences. You're working toward being a master of all of the sciences. Okay? Liberal arts, medicine, law, architecture, mathematics, everything. Okay, you're working toward that. And you're kind and generous, concerned about others, empathetic about the plight of others, and willing to help and share your wealth. All right? So this is higher self behavior. All right? Because of this, your mind is receiving downloads from the universe, or let me not say universe, let me say from consciousness. Your mind is receiving downloads from consciousness, or universal consciousness, or the all, whatever you want to call it. That which we are. That which we are. For example, I am a condensation of consciousness. I'm the power, Psalms 82:6. In religion, you always say I'm a God, or you're a God. Okay, so I'm receiving consciousness at the frequency that's assigned to me. Like my cell phone has a phone number. And any calls that come to my phone number, they're coming to that frequency, I get those calls. Okay? So the decisions that you make every day of your life, the decisions that you make and the behaviors that you do determines your frequency of consciousness. Okay? The more you harmonize with nature, the higher your vibration. Okay? And those downloads from the all or from consciousness, that which you are, will come back to you. All right? So we are all connected. We're all part of the same consciousness condensed into a physical body, okay, operating at our own frequency, your level of vibration. This is all this is saying, okay? And to some extent, this should be, y'all should know this. This should be intuitive. This process is associated with the sun, sun, the giver of light. It begins in Aries, the sign of the sun's exaltation, and reaches its climax in sun-ruled Leo, right? It reaches its climax in Leo, all right? The signs which follow the autumn equinox, however, are characterized by gathering darkness and have to do with the group into which individuality has to be incorporated, if not submerged. These are the quote-unquote social signs, which begin with Libra, the sign of the sun's fall, or the sun's quote-unquote depression, and which reach their point of maximum power in Aquarius, the sign in modern astrological jargon of the sun's quote-unquote detriment. Okay, so this is nothing but a fancy way of talking about the higher self and the lower self. Now, y'all will remember that the sun in the autumn equinox, okay, at that point, the sun is at 0 degrees on the celestial equator. 0 degrees. That means the sun is right at the line of the equator. It's right there. 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night. Now, when the sun travels below the equator, the sun has been crucified. The S-U-N, sun, has been crucified. In other words, it crossed below the celestial equator. Y'all got that? This is the crucifixion of the Christ. A physical phenomena remixed into religious mythology, where there is a man hung up on a stake or hung up on a cross. That's the remix, all right? You should know that this idea of a man hanging on a cross as representing Christianity didn't happen until a long time, hundreds of years after Christianity had its start. Initially, it was a sheep on the cross. I've shown that in previous presentations, okay? I've shown that in previous presentations. And JC himself wasn't introduced into the Gospels until later. And of course, you'll note that the JC character is Mithra. No matter what anybody says, that he's not, go back, check the parallels yourself. Check the parallels yourself about Mithra and about the other 16 or 17, 13 to 16 or 17 other Christ figures who lived long, or allegedly lived long before JC was ever even a thought. All right? And also that there were Christians in Egypt. And the followers of the Christians were called bishops. All right? What was that guy's name? Soter. What was his name? Something Soter. But the story with him is that that his followers would be with him even after death. He's their savior. It'll come to me later. But anyway, I don't want to waste time on this topic. We've been through this a million times. I hope by now everyone who's watching this presentation knows what I'm talking about. If you don't know, you've got a lot of studying to do on this topic, okay? But everything you need to know is right here on Zion Law School YouTube channel. You just got to study the presentation, study all the videos. You'll get all of this stuff. And not from a religious doctrine point of view, okay? But anyway, let's continue. So darkness, the sun has traveled or crossed below 0 degrees, which is the celestial equator. The celestial equator is nothing more than a projection outward of the equator on the earth. The equator, of course, is 0 degrees. Y'all like and share the video, please. Put some comments in the description. Put some comments in there, okay? Even if it's just saying hi. Put some comments in there. All right, and I'll answer what I can answer. All right, I'll check it. So this is a physical phenomenon. Dark behavior, wicked behavior. We get evil and dark, or one word, well, two words, make a compound word, take the D from dark, put it in front of evil, and you get devil. All right? Here is your devil, the attorney. The attorney who accuses day and night. All right? Go back to our solstices. Summer solstice, winter solstice. Let me show you, this is better. Let me just prop. Okay, summer solstice here at the top, winter solstice at the bottom. This is the same line, right? So the winter solstice is at the opposite end of the same line of the summer solstice. Summer solstice is to Christ. Winter solstice is the devil. They're on opposite ends of the same line, opposite, therefore, opposer. Opposer, opposite end of the line, therefore, adversary, right? Opposer, adversary. So opposite end of the line, opposite from opposite, we get opposer. From opposer, we get adversary. Here is your source of Satan, the devil, originating from physical phenomena, astrological in origin. Okay, there is no Satan or devil who is a real person. That's a remix. And all of these remixes are intended to capture your imagination, to transport you into the gospel stories and into the Paul's letters and the book of Revelation, capture your imagination and control you through fear. Fear of what? Fear of burning in hell. You can take one pill, you get to go to heaven, as long as you do everything that the religious leaders tell you to do. You accept their doctrine, and you get to go to heaven and live it up. You can take the other pill, which means you reject their doctrine, or you don't do everything that they tell you to do. Now you get to go burn in hell for eternity. For eternity. So you choose the pill. And out of ignorance, they got you. You've been caught. Y'all see the game? So, when fall comes, it's dark. People do ignorant, dirty, rotten stuff in the dark, right? That's when people kill, steal, rape, murder, gossip, destroy people's reputations, destroy the work that people have done. Okay, that's when people get bold enough to do all of their crimes. All right, so this is what the author is talking about. So in other words, in the winter, the sun is overtaken by darkness, right? Nighttime becomes longer than daytime. So Christ, which is the S-U-N Son, which is the S-O-N Son, becomes humiliated because there's nothing Christ can do. Okay, he cannot, or the Son cannot overtake the darkness. So the sun is humiliated. His light goes away. And that reaches its maximum on December 21st, 22nd, when darkness kills the sun. Christ is dead, or at least appears to be dead, for 3 days. There's no movement on the dial from December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th until 12 o'clock midnight, which is the beginning of December 25th. All of a sudden, the sun dial moves a full 1 degree. Christ has been resurrected from the dead. See? Christ has been resurrected from the dead. Okay? And that's celebrated in the spring with Easter. Christ is resurrected from the dead, and with it's the Passover for the Jewish people. All right, but all of this is astrological. It's all astrological. Okay? Let me check the time. Hold on. All of it is astrological. In ancient Egypt, Libra was associated with Ma'at, the goddess of cosmic harmony and justice, whose special task was to weigh the hearts of the dead on the scales of justice, balanced against an ostrich feather. And she was usually depicted with a feather in her headdress. Those who failed her test were heavy-hearted. Those who passed were light-hearted. So here we are again with that concept of light and heavy. Okay, heavy meaning dark. Among the Greeks, notably Hipparchus, Libra was zugos, the yoke. The very word used by Matthew in a passage immediately following Jesus' declaration, the capital God has revealed the secrets of the kingdom to infants. Mark uses a word from the same root, Sun Num, when he writes, quote, what capital God has together or yoked together, let no man separate. That's Mark chapter 10, verse 9. We're going to have to come back to this, y'all. I have an appointment. So we'll begin on page 145. I'll be back in a couple hours, and we'll do another presentation, okay? So I hope you got something out of this. I've told this story about the equinoxes and the solstices. By the way, that's where you get the cross, okay? The cardinal points, news, all of that. Go back and watch all of the presentations. I've given more details, more complete presentations and information on this topic in other videos. So y'all go back and watch those, all right? Get all of this, is free. There is no reason for you to not master these topics other than indifference, because you're getting it for free. All right, so master it. Islam to all the more, shalom. Oh, by the way, support my project to write the book of the law in ancient Ibaryath, and then to translate it to modern English from the ancient Ibaryath, okay? We need it. We absolutely need it. It's a humiliation that we don't have our own book of the law in ancient Ibaryath or Paleo Hebrew right now. It's a shame and a humiliation that we still depend on our oppressors to learn about something that we claim is ours. So y'all support this project. Stand up, be responsible men and women. Support the production, marketing, and distribution of our own literature. All right, it is a must. You cannot change the people without changing their literature. But nobody can do that but you, one more at a time. Nobody can do it but you. You, yes, you. The links to give support are in the description area of the video. You'll see my PayPal and my Cash App. $ DrYasapa. PayPal is Zion Law. PayPal is paypal.me/Zion Law School. But the links are in the description area of the video. You can also support by buying copies of my books on ancient Ibaryath and enrolling in the classes, okay? I don't have time to go through everything, but Islam to the Moors and Shalom.